only giant God ever listened to and had mercy on. There was one giant who was different. When all others defied heaven, he bowed. His name was Made, the son of fallen angels, born into a world already condemned. He carried the strength of thunder, yet within his heart still echoed the voice of heaven. While his brothers screamed, tearing mountains apart and raising their fists against the Creator, Mai sat in silence, watching the sky weep over a sinful world. He knelt beneath a lonely tree and whispered,
Lord, I cannot choose where I begin, but I can choose how I end.
Then came the great flood. The winds roared. The thunder shook the heavens. The waters rose to swallow the earth. But Mai remained on his knees, still praying, still believing. When the waters consumed his body, a light from heaven burst forth, and his soul was lifted into the arms of the Creator. For he knew God was watching, and truly the Lord saw him. No one on earth remembered his name, but in the book of heaven it was written, among the fallen there was one soul who chose to return to the light. If you believe that God still sees the faithful, say amen. The only giant God ever listened to and had mercy on. There was one giant who was different, when all others defied heaven.
Higher power was pulling strings. Looking back, I see how arrogant that was, how it walled off a part of me from the deeper questions life whispers in quiet moments. But even amid the triumphs, there were cracks. I'd stand on stage at a product launch, the crowd cheering, flashbulbs popping, and feel empty. Like I'd climbed the mountain, only to find the view was just more mountains. Money poured in, recognition followed, but that hollow ache persisted. I'd fill it with more companies, more ambitious projects, more late nights staring at screens. Distractions became my religion. I convinced myself this was normal, that everyone felt this way deep down. After all, we're all just atoms in a random dance, right? No grand purpose, no eternal love, just survival and achievement. Yet, in those rare pauses, like driving through the California hills at dawn, I'd wonder, is this all there is? The sun rising over the ocean, painting the sky in hues no engineer could replicate, and I'd push the thought away, crank up the radio, dive back into work. Faith seemed like a crutch, something for those who hadn't figured out how to stand on their own. I mocked it openly, baited friends who believed, always armed with logic and evidence. Show me proof, I'd say. Where's the data? But life has a way of providing evidence in forms we least expect, through people and pain that crack open our certainties. Now, as I sit here sharing this with you, I want you to know it's okay to question, to doubt. That's where real growth begins. I was that skeptic, the one who thought he had it all figured out. But let me invite you into my story, not as a billionaire preaching from on high, but as a fellow traveler who's stumbled and fallen, only to find a hand reaching out in the darkness. If you've ever felt that tug in your soul, that whisper that there's more to life than what meets the eye, lean in. Because what changed me wasn't a thunderbolt from the sky, it was the quiet strength of a friend and the undeniable pull of something greater. And trust me, if it can happen to a hot-headed engineer like me, it can happen to anyone. So let's walk this path together, one step at a time, and see where it leads.